Dear learners, today we are going to discuss about detailed instrumentation of high performance liquid chromatography. After completion of this lecture, you will be able to describe features of HPLC solvent reservoirs, describe requirements of HPLC solvents, explain various types of HPLC pumps, and will be able to explain about gradient controller and mixing chamber. Today we are going to discuss in detail about solvent reservoirs, pumps, gradient controller and mixing chamber. In our previous lecture, we had seen images of HPLC. I am repeating today. This is manual HPLC system having binary pump, and this is HPLC system with auto sampler having quaternary pump system. Today we will cover solvent reservoir, pumps, gradient control and mixing chamber. Now, what do you mean by solvent reservoirs? They are glass or stainless steel bottles. Now, why they are required? To place mobile phase. Mobile phase which is required to carry out particular chromatographic process. Now, these bottles are having various capacity. They are available in 250 ml size, 500 ml size, 1 liter, 2 liter. Depending upon your requirement, you can select these bottles. Now, nowadays, instead of stainless steel, glass reservoirs are used because they offer non-reactive surface. You can see here schematic diagram of solvent reservoir. This is your solvent reservoir containing some solvent which is used as a mobile phase. This line is tubing. There will be a tubing and this tubing will go to pump. Now what is this? This is sinker frit. Now what do you mean by frit? Frit is nothing but it is a filter and this frit is made up of metal. Now what is the role of this frit? To filter the mobile phase. So whatever is going into this tube and will go to pump and ultimately to the system will be filtered by this frit. And there will be a vent here. Now why there is a vent required? Because as you know these are mostly organic solvents, so they are volatile in nature, so some amount of vapor of that solvent will be there that can be removed through this vent. You can very well see the cap of solvent reservoir here in the image. Now, very important part of your chromatography, that is mobile phase. Now in HPLC you can use pure solvents as a mobile phase, mixture of solvents. You can use buffer. Now buffers are used when you are using reverse phase HPLC. I hope you remember reverse phase HPLC. Reverse phase HPLC where mobile phase is polar and stationary phase is non-polar. While in case of normal phase HPLC, mobile phase will be non-polar and stationary phase will be polar. So if you are using reverse phase HPLC, you can use acetonitrile as a mobile phase, or you can use methanol. You can use buffers such as acetate buffer, phosphate buffer, some basic buffers, aqueous acids such as acetic acid, formic acid, trifluoroacetic acid. These acids are used ranging from concentration 0.5% to 1% or 2% depending upon pH required. Now, what are the ideal characteristic of mobile phase? So solvent which you are using for mobile phase should be of HPLC grade. As we know that different reagents and chemicals are available in form of different grades. For example, AR grade, UV grade, IR grade. So for HPLC studies, whatever chemicals or reagent you are using should be of very high purity, that is HPLC grade. Even water you have to use HPLC grade, and they are readily available in market, you can purchase it. So one another requirement, solvent which are used as a mobile phase must be pure. That means free from any contaminants. And to remove any contaminants, you can filter your solvent and then you can use it as a mobile phase. For filtration purpose, you can use either 0.2 micron filter or 0.45 micron filter. Now, when to use 0.2 micron? Suppose you are filtering buffers. So better you go for 0.2 micron filter, because buffers are nothing but solid particles which you are dissolving in appropriate solvent. So if any undissolved particle is there, that can be very well removed by 0.2 micron filters. 0.45 micron filters are generally useful for neat solvent. Say if you want to filter methanol or acetonitrile, 0.45 micron filters will solve the purpose. This is the image for your filter. uh, they are available in nylon or cellulose nitrate. Better you go for nylon filters, because cellulose nitrate filters sometimes may react with some organic solvent and they may get dissolved in that solvent. So better you go for nylon membrane filter. Another criteria for mobile phase, very important, that it should be free from bubble. Now, why there shouldn't be any bubble entering in your HPLC either through mobile phase or through sample? Because what will happen if any bubble is, now it suppose it has entered in the your system? So what will happen if it is at pump level? So mixing of two solvents will be hampered, and if it is going into column, it may disturb the column packing. If it is going to the detector, your baseline will not be steady. And as we know in HPLC, when we are performing our analysis, first mobile phase is allowed to run up to 10-15 minutes alone to for equilibrium, and you should get straight baseline. And once you get straight baseline, after that you have to inject the sample. But if you are not getting straight baseline, you cannot inject the sample. So if bubble is there at detector level, you will not get straight baseline. So you have to remove bubble from your solvents. Now, how will you remove the bubble? So you can either purge some gas or you can sonicate it. So purging or removal of air bubble from the solvent is known as purging. The process is termed as purging. So to remove air bubble, you can either pass some gas. In this diagram, helium gas is passed through mobile phase reservoir to remove any air bubble. Another technique to remove air bubble is to sonicate the mobile phase. I hope you know the principle behind sonication, where ultrasonic sound energy is used to break the air bubble. And this is the image of filtration assembly. For filtration of mobile phase, you have to take out this filter with the help of forceps. You cannot touch it directly to prevent any contamination. You have to place here in between. This is a filtration funnel. It is here, it is seen, it is made up of glass, but it is also available in stainless steel. So you have to remove this clamp you have to place this filter with the help of forceps. Again you have to place this assembly, clamp it, and you have to join with vacuum pump. And if you on the vacuum pump, and if you pass anything through this filtration assembly, it will be easily passed and it will be filtered. Now why vacuum is required? Because you know that this filter is having very less pore size, 0.2 micron and 0.45 micron. So if you allow it to pass under gravity, it will take a lot of time. So vacuum will facilitate filtration, and it will allow fast filtration of any solvent. Now, we will learn about HPLC pumps. Now, what is the role of pump? To flow the mobile phase through the column. Now, what are the ideal characteristic of any pump or desired characteristic of pump? Number one is solvent compatibility and resistant to corrosion. The pump should be corrosion free, and it should be compatible with any solvent which we are using to perform our analysis. It should not react with solvent, or any part of pump should not be reacting with the solvent. So it should be compatible to the solvent. Another important criteria is constant flow delivery independent of back pressure. Now what do you mean by this? If we are setting flow rate say 1 ml per minute, so throughout the experiment it should deliver 1 ml per minute only. It should not be less than that, not more than that. Even zero point 0.1 ml deviation is not allowed. So it should be flowing, or the flow of pump should be constant. Now convenience of replacement of worn out parts. Suppose after 2 or 3 years, pump some part of pump is not working. So it should be that non-working part should be easily replaceable, or it should be easily repaired. Low dead volume for minimum problems on solvent changeover. Now what do you mean by dead volume with respect to pump? So what do you mean by solvent changeover? Suppose I am doing method development on HPLC and I am using methanol. Now methanol as a mobile phase is not giving me satisfactory results. So obviously I am going to use some other solvent as a mobile phase. Say I am using, now I want to use acetonitrile. So I will change my reservoir from methanol to acetonitrile. Now in HPLC tubing, methanol is there because I was using methanol as my one of the components of mobile phase. Now if I place reservoir containing acetonitrile, remove the methanol reservoir and place the acetonitrile reservoir, and I will allow pump to flow. So what will happen? The pump will suck the acetonitrile from the reservoir, but in tubing still there are some portion of methanol is there. So that is our dead volume. So dead volume should be less, means whenever any changeover of solvent is done, the previous solvent should be quickly removed. Next we will see about HPLC pumping system stringent requirements. Number 1, generation of pressure up to 6000 psi. So generation of pressure up to 6000 psi means the pump should be able to withstand high pressure. Suppose I have a 2 HPLC system. One is able to withstand 6000 psi and another is able to withstand only 2000 psi. So which one is better? Obviously the pump which can withstand high pressure is better, because when we do experiments, there will be always pressure generating in the system. That is a back pressure which is generated by column on the pump. That is the back pressure. So the pump should not stop working because of high pressure. So the pump which is withstanding high pressure is good pump, because see, every pump will have some capacity to withstand pressure. If we cross that limit, that pump is going to stop after that certain limit. So the pump which can withstand high pressure is good. So that is what it has been written, that generation of pressure up to 6000 psi. Now 6000 psi is for one HPLC. You can purchase or you can have HPLC having which can withstand pressure up to 10,000 psi. Number 2 is pulse free output. Now what do you mean by pulse? See, when pump is flowing mobile phase through the system, obviously there is going to some pulse. So the and because of that pulse, the baseline will be going up and down, up and down, up and down. So pulse free output means what? The baseline should be straight and there should not be generation of pulse. In our next subsequent slide, we will come to know how this pulses are generated when pump is operated. So you will have better idea. Next is flow rates range from 0.1 ml to 10 ml per minute. So this is self explanatory. It should be able to deliver minimum flow 0.1 ml to 0.1 ml per minute to 10 ml per minute. Whichever is your requirement, you can select it, that I want 1 ml per minute flow rate, I want 2 ml per minute flow rate, I want 0.8 ml per minute. So whatever you are setting, it should be able to deliver. Next is good flow control to provide flow reproducibility. Now what do you mean by flow reproducibility? Means what? Throughout the experiment, it should be operated at desired flow rate. It should not deviate from it. So the flow rate of your mobile phase should be reproducible. It should not be deviating from that particular set value. Now what are the types of HPLC pump? There are basically two types of pumps which are used in HPLC. One is mechanical pump and pneumatic. Another is pneumatic pumps. Mechanical pump is known as constant flow pumps because they deliver at constant flow rate. While pneumatic pumps are known as constant pressure pump which produce constant pressure. Example of mechanical pumps are reciprocating piston pump and syringe pump. And for in pneumatic pump, example is constant pressure pump. Constant flow pump, the elution volume and peak area are reproducible regardless of viscosity or viscosity changes or column blockage. Means constant flow pump, they are going to deliver at constant flow regardless of viscosity or any problem in column. Now one by one we will be learning about all the pumps. First is reciprocating pump. Deliver solvents through reciprocating motion of a piston in a hydraulic chamber. On the backstroke, the solvent is sucked in and gets delivered to the column in forward stroke. Flow rates can be set by adjusting piston displacement in each stroke. The solvent delivery of reciprocating pump system is smooth because while one pump is filling the filling cycle, the other is in delivery cycle. High pressure output is possible at constant flow rate and gradient operation is possible. However, pulse damping device is required for further elimination of pressure pulses. Now, first of all, we will see diagram. Here there is a chamber. In chamber there is a piston. Piston is attached to motor driven cam. Now here there are two walls. One is outlet wall and another is inlet wall. Now what will happen? Through this motor driven cam, when this piston is moved backward, what will happen? Through this inlet valve, solvent will go in the chamber, means solvent will be filled. So when piston will be moving backward, solvent will be filled. Now in next moment, when piston will move forward from this side, right hand side, so what will happen? Whatever solvent is filled into this chamber, that will be delivered out through this outlet wall. Now what it is telling, that it is high pressure output possible at constant flow and gradient operation is possible. Means with this type of pump, they means they can be operated at high pressure and at constant flow rate, and gradient operation is possible with this type of pump. Now what do you mean by gradient operation? So there are two terminologies, isocritic and gradient. Isocritic means throughout the elution, means throughout the process, chromatographic process, mobile phase composition remains constant, it will not change. And gradient means during the run, during single run or during injection or during the elution, mobile phase concentration or composition will change with time. So with this type of pump you can use gradient, you can use for gradient operation. But the problem with this reciprocating pump is pulses. Now what do you mean by pulse? So as you can see from this diagram, when piston is moving backward, it is filling. So when it is filled, nothing is delivered. So this is zero, means no output from the pump. So there will not be delivery. And when the piston is moving forward, it is delivering. So there is a generation of pulse, because it is when one is filling, another is not delivering, and because of that there is a generation of pulse. So you require pulse damping, means there should be some device which can damp or which can remove that pulse to create straight base line. And to remove this problem, you can also use double reciprocating pump. Now what do you mean by double reciprocating pump? Means when one is filling, another is delivering, and and vice versa. So this pulse can be reduced. Now advantages of this reciprocating pump: small solvent chamber volume, 35 to 400 ml, means chamber is very small, that is advantage. High output pressure, means you can get pressure up to 10,000 psi. Ready for use in gradient elution, as we had discussed, it is useful for gradient. Constant flow rate, which is independent of column back pressure and solvent viscosity. So that's why they are known as constant flow pumps, because the flow of mobile phase is independent of column back pressure and solvent viscosity. Now disadvantage of this pump: pulsed flow, which must be smoothened out using pulse damper. This we have already discussed. Now next is syringe type pumps, which are also known as displacement pumps. They are made up of syringe. syringe like chamber. They are made up of syringe like chamber. This is the chamber suitable for small bore columns. Now what do you mean by small bore columns? Columns with less internal diameter. So if you are going to use HPLC column with small internal diameter, better means they are better suited, or pumps are this type of pumps are better suited with small bore columns. Constant flow rate is delivered to column by motorized screw arrangement. Solvent delivery rate is set by changing voltage on the motor. So again it is almost similar type of that. There is a motor driven lever, and this is very small chamber, and it is what will happen when motor is running. This piston will have back and forward movement, and because of that this solvent, so when it will go backward it will be filled, and when it will move forward it will be removed. So in one way it will be filled, and in other movement when it is moving forward through the outlet, it will be the mobile phase will be out of the chamber. Advantage: these pumps deliver pulseless flow independent of column back pressure and change in viscosity. Means there is no pulse here. Disadvantage: limited solvent capacity, because just it is very small chamber arrangement. So limited solvent capacity and limited on gradient operation, means you cannot very well use for gradient operation. Now next is constant pressure pump or pneumatic pumps provide consistent continuous flow rate through the column with the use of pressure from a gas cylinder. Means for working of pneumatic pump you require gas. Valving arrangement allows rapid refill of solvent chamber. A low pressure gas source is needed to generate high liquid pressure. See, this is air, this is air 2. Now what happens when air is going in? So what will happen? This is, we are using gas. Here we are using air. So when air is going in, and what happens if air is going out? So with the help of this air, pressure is created, and because of that solvent from solvent reservoir will be sucked. And what will happen uh, uh, with the help of pressure of air, the whatever is sucked in the chamber, they that will be delivered out. So here gas is used to take solvent from reservoir, and it then gas will be pressurized to move the solvent from the chamber out of the chamber, and it will be going to in the column. Now next is binary versus quaternary pump. In a binary pump, there are two independent pumps. Binary, the name itself suggests binary means there will be a two independent pumps, with each pump providing flow of specific solvent. This each pump will provide flow of specific solvent. For example, here in there is one reservoir, another with pump B there is another reservoir. Suppose this is with pump A, I have joined reservoir containing methanol, and here it is with pump B it is reservoir containing water. So what it is telling, there are two independent pumps with each pump providing flow of specific solvent. Here it is methanol specific solvent, and here it is water. Now the solvents are then combined in mixing chamber. Suppose I want 50% of methanol and 50% of water. So I will feed the data in computer. So what will happen? This pump A deliver 50% of methanol and this pump B will deliver 50% of water. So what will happen? And they will be combined in mixing chamber. Mixing chamber, water and methanol is going to combine. That is located after pump. This is the mixing chamber which is located after the pump. This creates a high pressure proportioning environment because the solvents are already under pressure before they reach the mix point where they are mixing. So what is happening? What happens? What it is telling that before reaching the mixing chamber, both the solvents they are under high pressure and then they are getting mixed here. So there will be high pressure generating here, and then once they are mixed, they will be following its path. So this is binary. Now coming to quaternary. In quaternary pump, the gradient is created through a device called proportionating valve. Means what? Suppose you are using 4. Quaternary means there will be 4 pumps, 4 reservoir. Means there will be 4 reservoir. So in this case, what they are using? They are using proportionating valve. Now suppose I want all the 4 solvents, say methanol, water, acetonitrile, some buffer, 4 solvents I require. So what is the role of this proportionating valve? Whatever composition I need of all these 4 solvents, that proportion will be created by proportionating valve, and they will deliver a pocket of solvent to the pump head. Means first the proportion will be created, and whatever proportion is there, that pocket is that will be delivered to the pump. Means proportionating will be done here before the pump. The plunger draws the solvent into pump head. Now what will happen? This is the different proportion of 4 solvents which is required, and now they 4 will be going to pump head and create turbulent environment where the mobile phase mixes together. And what will happen? In the pump, they all will be taken and they will be mixed here. Because the mobile phase is not under pressure at this point where the proportioning valve introduce the packet of solvent, quaternary pumps are typically considered as low pressure proportioning. Means what? What they are telling at, see, the high pressure is created here, not here. In case of proportioning valve, where it is proportionating different volumes of required mobile phase, here pockets are created, but at this point in proportionating, there is no pressure created. Pressure is created when they are entering the pump. So this type of arrangement is known as low pressure proportioning. So if we see this, if we differentiate binary and quaternary, see here in binary in this type of arrangement, pump are before and mixing is done afterwards. So they are producing very high pressure, and here proportionating or mixing is done before and then it is passing through pump. So these are known as low pressure. Now why this is low pressure and this is high pressure? Here pump has to do both the role, mixing and pushing the mobile phase towards the system. So there will be more pressure generating. Here mixing is done before it is entering the pump. So pump means relative mixing. I am not saying that complete mixing is done, but some part of mixing is done here, and then pump has to again flow, and that is there. But the pump has to work less here because some part is already done here. So this type of uh, arrangement is known as low pressure system. So when I would like to share with you, when we purchase any HPLC, they will always ask whether you want high pressure or low pressure. So we will always say we want low pressure system. Why? Because we don't want to unnecessary create pressure on pump for mixing and all. So always it is better to purchase low pressure system rather than purchasing high pressure system. I hope you have understood now. Now next is gradient controller. As we know, what do you mean by gradient? So in gradient, both in gradient the composition of mobile phase is changing with time, so it will not be constant, and to generate gradient you require gradient controller. So what is the function of gradient controller? To control, to initiate for gradient illusion, or to control gradient illusion. So in case of gradient analysis, second reservoir along with gradient controller is required. Suppose you want to perform gradient analysis. So in that case, your system should have gradient controller. If your system is of not that quality, having no gradient controller, so in that case you cannot go for gradient illusion. You have to go for then isocritic illusion only. Gradient controller is an electronic device that synchronizes the operation of two pumps to provide mobile phase of desired composition. The gradient controller is able to provide linear, concave and step gradient. There are different types of gradient: linear gradient, convex gradient, concave gradient or step gradient. So all type of gradient will be provided by gradient controller depending upon your requirement. So what is gradient controller? For gradient analysis, gradient controller is required. It is an electronic device that synchronizes operation of two pumps to provide mobile phase of desired composition. Now mixing chamber. What is the role of mixing chamber? Where the individual solvents are mixed and delivered to chromatograph. So mixing chamber is a chamber where solvents are mixed, and after mixing, that mobile phase will be delivered to chromatograph or system. Mixing is used either by static mixture, which is packed with beads, that is glass beads, or dynamic mixer, which uses magnetic stirrer and operates at high pressure. So this is another diagram. So this is system controller. You have pump A. This is solvent reservoir A. Pump B, solvent reservoir B. There is a mixer where mixing is happening. This system controller or gradient controller will this is system controller, so this will control entire system, and mixer will where the mixing of mobile phase occurs, and once the mixing is done, then it will be delivered to chromatograph. So today we will end our session. So we have learned about um, different pump which are used in HPLC. Then we have learned about gradient controller, then mixing chamber. In our next lecture, we will be learning next component of our of HPLC system, that is sample introduction system. Thank you for patiently listening to me. Have a good time, good day.